Hey, folks. We're back with Free My Pain Now, and today I have a special guest. I'm so excited. Dr. Isaac Jones.
Hey, thank you so much.
Oh, man. Listen, I can't tell you how much you've helped and really inspired me in the last few months to really bring up my game in my clinic. Isaac not only is a wonderful doctor and one of our superhero healers, but he was also a student back at Life University when I was there.
That's right.
And I got to see you 10 years ago. And you know, sometimes you can tell that somebody's going to be a superstar. So, man, it's just great to
appreciate it, brother.
Watch from the sidelines how well you've done with and what you've built. And, you know, you are CEO of Health Expert Alliances. And honestly, I mean, I knew you were a dynamic speaker, a wonderful chiropractor, and you were going to be successful. And just tell people a little bit what you went through. I mean, there's trials and tribulations in everyone. It's just no one has an easy road at it. So just kind of tell them you're from Toronto.
Yeah, I was born and raised in Peterborough, Ontario, just northeast of Toronto. And, you know, I was struggling as a kid. I was on different medications because my mom and dad, that's all they knew was to just, if you had a problem, you get on a medication. So, you know, I was on a cocktail of medications to the point where I ended up feeling like my whole body and brain was shutting down. And my mom recognized that there was, you know, that little boy inside was not as vibrant and as lively and as energetic and as productive in school as I used to be. And so, you know, I fast forward a little bit, and what we've discovered was I was dyslexic. I was diagnosed with ADHD, and it was through working with a healer like yourself up in Canada that my life was just completely transformed. My pain went away. My energy was transformed. My brain function was maximized. I got off all of my medications, and I ended up really getting straight A's in classes to the point where I got a international academic scholarship. And I wanted to study, you know, the healing art of chiropractic and health and wellness to be able to help other people like the way I was helped, because I was like, this is a miracle, you know? And so we, you know, I came down to the United States and was able to become a doctor, and that's where I met you, and you poured into me and added an amazing amount of value to me as one of my professors. And then, you know, from there, I had this vision of building one of the largest health centers in the world. And something crazy happened. Upon graduation, I'd been trained up on the best health systems, been working with the top wellness doctors in the world. I had gone through all these advanced certifications above and beyond my training. And, you know, I started, you know, working with some virtual clients, like helping them with lifestyle modifications and nutrition. And what ended up happening was I got kicked out of the U.S.
Yeah, you were on a trip with your fiance.
Yeah, my now wife, exactly. And
coming back in from British Columbia.
Yeah, we went on this beautiful tour of the northwest coast of the United States, Pike's Place Market in Seattle, up to Vancouver. And then, you know, what ended up transpiring is I found myself back in my mom and dad's home. You know, everything that I thought.
They stopped you at the border.
They stopped me at the border. They didn't allow me back in. The lawyer that was representing me said it was unjust and it was unfair, yada, yada. We ended up fighting and winning later on, but I was stuck in Canada for 3 years.
And your practice that you had, your bricks and mortar, you had to kind of reinvent yourself.
Yeah. Luckily, I was already dabbling in the virtual, but like I was able to just take off and build one of the largest health centers, or actually the largest virtual health center in the world, helping people in Saudi Arabia, London, England, Tokyo, Japan, Sydney, Australia. Clients fly me down to Sydney.
Amazing.
So across America, it's been amazing. And you know, when you are able to go virtual with your message, you're able to help so many people. So now we've impacted with some of our online trainings just last a few months ago, superhumanbrainmasterclass.com. We impacted 80,000 people in just 1 week of educating them about how to maximize brain function.
Wow. That's huge. 80,000.
Yeah, it's great.
So, I mean, you take this vision, you put it together, you have health expert alliances. You're teaching other doctors now around the world to do this.
Yeah.
You have a huge following in Japan. I mean, every seminar I go to.
I'm huge in Japan.
You're like
and
Jerry
it's
Lewis
actually
was
true.
Yeah,
right?
Really?
Yeah.
And I love that. And I mean, your message goes across borders and languages, and it doesn't matter. So that's pretty cool. And what you're building, and you've got a great network and a great tribe out there. So kudos to you. So
thank you.
You've put this together. You've got doctors that are moving away from a bricks and mortar. You were working with some high-end elite clients too. I mean, these guys that were running Fortune 500 companies. And they, you see that type A personality that's running a company like that, that's burning the wick at both ends. What are some of the key components that you help change these people's lives? Like, what are some of the things you're noticing out there for our community and stuff like that? Simple steps that they can do. Yeah.
So, I mean, most of us are busy. Most of us actually have a lot of what the executives are experiencing every day. Where there's a lot of stress. There's a lot of moving parts to their life. And it might be a mom listening that has like a bunch of kids or a husband or a man that's working the corporate job, and he's working the 9 to 5 and sometimes 9 to 9, right? So, but ultimately the first thing that I recommend is taking care of yourself, because if you're taking care of your job and you're taking care of your kids, you can't be what you and really God designed you to be, to maximize your output as a leader. And so ultimately my recommendation is to create time for yourself, maybe in the day. Maybe it's even 5 minutes in the morning where you're able to, read the Bible in the morning, or, read some sort of scripture, or do some sort of meditation. Just get some you time in. But certainly prioritizing your health is essential. And that's the number one thing, is that they don't prioritize their health. They don't prioritize themselves. And the moms listening and the women listening that are working really hard, and the men that are listening that are working their tails off, like, you've got to recognize you cannot continue to do that, because you're going to end up hitting a wall, or you already hit a wall and you keep moving because you're addicted to the same patterns that you've always been kind of implementing. And so you've got to wake up to the fact that if you keep pushing like the way that you've been pushing, you're going to be a statistic, or you could be a statistic like a lot of the Americans are waking up to with their diagnosis of all of these different chronic illnesses and diseases and symptoms and disorders and chronic pain, which we're seeing at an epidemic level at this day and age, in this day and age.
And I have to thank you, because you really helped me get back on track and start focusing on me. I hadn't got on a scale for 2 years, and until I went to your seminar in January, and it really made me start holding myself accountable. I'm down 20 pounds.
20 pounds.
I'm doing the
Congrats.
keto, I'm doing the intermittent fasting, a lot of stuff that you've helped me implement.
Proud of you.
Thank you.
That's great.
And it's right. I mean, my dad had a terrible, massive heart attack at age 58, and I want to be around for my kids. I mean, his life was shortened, and it's just like he worked 6 days a week.
Yeah.
And one of the things you said to me is, man, I got a lot going on. I'm working sometimes from 6 in the morning till 6 at night. And you really helped me take a couple steps back. So I appreciate just some of your guidance and what you're, so pretty cool story. We're going to talk more about this on the second half, but you stay in extremely good shape. You work out, you meditate, you do saunas, you take care of your body. And you were playing hoops with a good buddy of ours, Dr. Bob Bacon.
Yeah.
And tore your ACL. I mean,
oh, terrible. Like literally I was and a lot of people they've got injuries, various injuries. It might be your shoulder, it might be your knee, but I had two major injuries actually. That one that you helped with that you don't know about. I'll talk to you about how you helped with it maybe in the second half. But I just love being active, and it was just one of those things where I was out playing basketball and I was running down the court, and all of a sudden my leg, literally on a layup, I was taking off to jump up to, or maybe I landed. I don't know. It was so emotional and challenging, but I ripped my meniscus, my medial meniscus, tore my lateral collateral ligament, and then I tore my ACL, my anterior cruciate ligament. And, it was devastating. My leg blew up like a balloon with all the blood that was inside, all the arteries that got ripped up. And there was a massive contusion in my bone that you saw on MRI.
Mm-hmm.
And it was
bone bruise.
It was devastating. I was screaming like it was like it was super painful. I was screaming like a grade 7 girl at a Backstreet Boys concert. It was like, and then I was like, man, this is embarrassing. I'm screaming so loud right here. But it was true. Like I was in excruciating pain, more pain than I've ever been in my life. And probably not as much as my wife has given birth to 3 boys, but
3 beautiful boys.
Beautiful boys. But maybe I'm like 5 out of 10 where she was a 10 out of 10. But yeah, that was intense.
So we'll chat about that. And
the healing was remarkable.
What you did prior to treatments and some of the intermittent fat. You went 3 days without eating.
Oh gosh, yeah. I cannot wait to download the ways that these people can reduce pain rapidly in their lives.
And so we'll chat about that in the second segment. Okay, so we're back with Free My Pain Now, and we've got Dr. Isaac Jones, who's our special guest today. And Isaac, we left off, you had just torn your ACL and your medial and lateral cruciate ligaments, which are major supporting structures.
And it was like a complete tear.
It was bad.
Yeah.
Late stage or complete in most of those structures. And I heard kind of through the grapevine, because you were playing right up the street from where I live, and it was pretty dramatic.
It was extremely. I actually had PTSD from it. Like I replayed in my head, and I would go into cold sweats. I would be like screaming.
Yeah, your body goes into shock.
Yeah, it was a weird experience. Like, and I felt for all those military out there that actually see certain things. This was just a small little ACL tear.
Yeah. So and you went into high mode. We've actually documented Dr. Isaac's healing journey, and he's a healing machine. Like, this is not your average specimen.
with your help.
So,
no, seriously.
But you had a good foundation. So one of the things I did is I was like, Isaac, I need you to come in and try this device. It is the soft shockwave device, or low intensity extracorporeal shockwave treatment, which I have to make a quick disclaimer, has been cleared by the FDA to help decrease pain, improve circulation, right? So wherever you have pain and trauma, you have poor blood supply.
Yeah.
So you were like, we worked around your schedule. I mean,
you were very flexible for me. Thank you for waking up at 5 a.m.
Oh, no worries. And we started working on you after a 3-day fast, right?
Yeah.
And you did that to really prepare your body for this healing journey.
Yeah, and specifically to use this technology, this tissue regenerative technology. And what fasting does is it can help to, or shouldn't say can, it helps to boost stem cell production. But then when you actually utilize the TRT, what ends up happening is you accelerate the healing even more.
That's exactly right. And one of the things I wanted to look at is the research that I loved about it is how it activates those resident stem cells that are laying there dormant. And all of a sudden, we're calling for their help. And we're going to get into some serious, some of the research behind it in our next episode with Dr. Michael Carter. But we knew you had some swelling. You had brace. Your body, whenever you're injured, it's going to swell it up, and it wants to create lack of motion. And the first thing we did is we got in there and we did a couple thousand shockwaves on you. We reduced the swelling. I know you walked without the brace. Tell me some of the things over the 3-4 weeks. We did you once a week for 3 or 4 weeks with these treatments.
Well, first of all, I when I got the MRI, the orthopedic surgeon was like, "You need surgery. There's no way you can walk. You need to be in a brace. This is severe, yada, yada, yada." And so, what ended up happening was I did your therapy, and like the pain went away immediately. Like I had zero pain, which was crazy because I was in so much pain before and it didn't make any sense to me. And so the pain went away. And then what ended up happening, because I was putting my leg up, I was resting it, I was elevating it, compressing it, icing it. Over time, like I was able to kind of walk on it,
Went from a crutch to a cane.
To a cane, yeah, very quickly.
Each week he would come in and
very quickly, yeah. And I mean, this is unheard of, like in the healing and health space. And then what was so impactful was, I was able to, like, because when you have an injury like that, your muscle tonality drops like rapidly.
Started atrophying.
Yeah, so my right leg started atrophying compared to my left leg, but because I was able to, the tissues were able to heal so fast and my knees started feeling so good so quickly, I was actually able to do some resistance training and actually build my muscle back up so that you couldn't tell that I had an injury in the right. And it's only been 3 months.
And I think you were in Japan at the time when you were doing some of that resistance training.
Yes.
And you were sending me videos, which I loved.
Yes.
And just 5 weeks after, he was playing hoops again.
Yeah. So March, April, May. So it's only been a few months. That's the craziest thing.
It's amazing. I think it's going to help with your contract with the Toronto Raptors. They're going to resign. By the way, congratulations on their,
thank you. Yeah.
Their championship.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Too bad Kawhi Leonard's going to the Clippers.
Is he? Oh, shoot. I knew that he was the hottest thing last week. So the healing was awesome. And thank you so much for the opportunity to bring this to some of your doctors in the Health Expert Alliance
my
group.
Goal is to get it into as many doctors' offices as we possibly can, because it addresses the underlying issues that these doctors see in their practices all the time. And so I didn't tell you this. This is the other injury that I ended up getting. I ended up going to New York City for some dental work. And I lifted, so I was on the subway or maybe in the airport, and I lifted my luggage and I dislocated my shoulder out of the socket. Like it was just like,
Clunk.
Yeah, it was a bad, like, kind of injury, and it was from like an old injury that I had on a trampoline when I was growing up as a kid. Long story short, do you want to say something about trampolines?
No. Okay. They're deadly. I just don't like them. So many injuries.
Yeah. But I ended up, this was the coolest thing is you came to the Denver event. Mm-hmm. And I'd been in excruciating shoulder pain, and I was like, I need Dr. DiDuro to work on my shoulder. And so I got you to work on it, and you probably took, 3 minutes?
3 minutes.
Yeah, 3 minutes. Yeah. And the pain was gone. My shoulder is completely fine. Like, I mean, I can't even tell you how grateful. I'm like a high-performing human being, but for just the average Joe, I'm just so excited for anyone and everyone to get access to this technology now, because God put an amazing healing and regulating power inside our bodies. There's an innate healing and regulating power in our bodies. All we need to do is stimulate those healing powers that this technology and chiropractic does.
That's why I love it paired with chiropractic
so
well, because you have subluxation, or what we call mechanical stresses to the joints, that can create issues.
Yeah.
And when you can remove those and then actually get to the root cause of what's causing the problems and then reduce the inflammation, I do feel that pairing this regenerative technology, or TRT, with chiropractic really gives us some super healing properties for our clinics and our docs out there. And I'm glad you got to experience it firsthand.
Well, it's not just the pain. I know that my tissues are being regenerated because my knee is stable, and it wasn't as stable at first, and now it's more and more stable, and I've got no pain. And the crazy thing is, I'm sprinting almost every day. I'm doing sprints on the hill outside my house. I'm doing squats at the gym. I'm doing things that like you shouldn't be doing at this point in the process. And
your orthopedist is going to be mad at it.
but the reality is, like, you know, I believe that this is going to completely heal, and I'm open to surgery.
Sure.
It's not like I'm, you know, I'm against surgery at all. It's just that I'm not like Steph Curry waiting to get my next NBA championship. I need to get on the court like tomorrow, or Klay Thompson's a better example.
Or Kevin Durant.
Yeah, or Kevin Durant, exactly.
Who just tore his Achilles.
Yeah. So the goal, you know, I thought about this device for them. I'm like, oh my gosh, they need this.
Oh no. By the way, I don't know if I can say it, but KD has actually used the TRT with some doctors in our country. So he's utilizing this technology, and a lot of NBA teams are Cleveland Indians or NBA.
Cavaliers,
Chicago Cubs, mostly baseballs, Memphis Grizzlies.
It's great.
So, you know, we're out there. Well, that's awesome. I'm excited. You know, in closing, Doc, and so excited. We definitely want to have you back. I mean, you've got a great message. You know, what can we do? What can that average person out there that's listening, that's in our community, what can they start doing to really start taking control of their health again?
I think the biggest thing that people need to monitor is the amount of carbohydrates and sugars they're consuming. It's such a hidden problem, but it drives pain, right? There are two main things: overconsumption of omega-6, which drives what they call prostaglandin E2 inside the cells, which drives inflammation intracellularly. But then carbohydrates and sugars, they're hidden. And like my wife even said, she's like, stop putting so much ketchup on the kids' eggs. I'm like, what? She's like, there's too much sugar in the ketchup. And here I am.
Yeah.
Like,
the health expert.
Yeah, the health expert. I'm like, so I look at the side of the bottom, like 2 grams of sugar per tablespoon. I'm like coating their eggs with ketchup because it's a good way to get them to eat eggs. I'm like, darn it. This happened to me. So don't feel bad about the fact that there's 20 grams in like your salad dressing that you think you're getting some healthy salad dressing. Just use some balsamic and some olive oil. Be awake to the amount of carbohydrates that are in bread. Bread is sugar, straight sugar. If you're eating like, you know, straight white bread or white rice or potatoes, anything white, I mean, that converts to sugar right away in your bloodstream. That drives inflammation inside your body. So it's important to be awake to the things that are creating inflammation in your body and creating pain. And it comes down to overconsumption of omega-6, which comes from processed foods. So just cut out processed foods or as much as you can, or transition
anything boxed or anything that's microwaved.
Yeah, exactly. Totally. And then cut down those carbohydrates, because even the healthiest people are like, you know, they don't even realize how much sugar they're eating.
The 3 white devils, which is white cow's milk.
Yeah.
Right? White.
Yeah, conventional.
White weed.
Because I just had some grass-fed delicious whipping cream this morning.
That's wonderful. And so those 3.
But yes.
And then sugar, white sugar.
White sugar,
processed
yes.
sugar, wheat, and cow's milk. But like you said, the whole milk is
the organic kind of grass-fed, exactly.
And we use that grass-fed Kerrygold on everything. Like that. That's what we have been using.
Yeah, Organic Valley.
Dude,
exactly.
It's such a pleasure to really
so
have you
nice
on.
connecting with you. Thank you for what you're doing for people. Appreciate you.
The man, the myth, Sir Isaac Jones.